So I've kind of put a hold on the demolition derby car for now. I'm waiting on the motor to get rebuilt. So before I can switch the motors over, I gotta wait for that one to get rebuilt. So I figured I'd start working on my restoration project. So just got it back about a week ago from the shop. Got all 4 brakes redone on it. So brakes are working good now, so it's drivable. The frame's a bit rusty underneath, so I started doing some rust work on the frame. So here you can see already I've welded in new sheet metal on there, strengthened it a bit. So this side's done. I'm just about done the driver's side. Welded in the metal there. The previous owner tried to fix it himself, but he just welded a bunch of scrap metal in there, so I had to cut it out. Put some new stuff in there, re-welded it up and cleaned it up. So this side's almost done. I noticed a pinhole of rust in the floor, and when I ripped the carpet out, it ended up being that the whole driver's side is rusted. So I'm gonna cut this out. That's gonna be my project today. I'm gonna cut this out and switch it out with the other Oldsmobile. You can see on this one there's no rust whatsoever on the floor here. It's kind of dusty right now, but there's no rust that I can see, so I'm going to cut this floor out today. Okay, so I've started cutting out the floor here. I've just been using a Sawzall, and I've cut along this line here already. I've made it up until this corner here, and then there's a pinch weld right up here, so I'm just going to cut along this line. I've made it up until there, and I've cut until here, and then I'm going to take this piece with too. So I've cut along this line here and up through here, and then now I'm just going to cut from the back of the transmission up to the front there. There's a few cables and lines running underneath this area here, so I won't be able to use the Sawzall there. I have a 6-inch blade on there. I don't want to cut through anything I shouldn't, so I'm going to use the air cutter and cut it through the rest of the way. Okay, so did a little more cutting, and now the floor is out. I had to do it in 2 pieces because this part is where the body mounts to the frame, and just prying on this piece of floor, it wasn't coming off, so I just put a cut right straight across here. Took the main part of the floor out. I had to make another cut because this part here is attached to the frame as well, so I couldn't get this part loose, so I went about 2 inches or so in and cut along there, and then it came off nicely. So I got that part of the floor off, and then I undid the body bolt here, and then the other part just pried off after a little bit of prying with a screwdriver. I had to do a bit of drilling too. It was kind of tack welded on as well, so finally got it off. So yeah, get started putting the floor in the other car now. Just got the floor in the other car now. It turned out pretty nicely, I think. What I did is I sprayed the whole piece of the floor with a rust converter. So just to get an idea of how the rust converter works, this is the stuff I've been using. It's the RustCheck rust converter. How it works is you spray it on a rusted surface, so like here, this is part of the frame and the body mount. It was pretty much all surface rust on there. So what I did is I put a pretty heavy coat of this stuff on there, and as you can see, it's turned the rust black. So it completely seals off the rust and it kills it, and then it prevents it from spreading any farther, and then it's a paintable surface. So what I've done here is I put a pretty decent coat on here. I'll let it dry, and then I'll put some paint on it, and then there should be no more rust after that. And then what I did is I used a sealant underneath it. So I coated the whole bottom with a sealant, and then placed it on top of the floor that was existing already. and then waited for that to dry. Left it about a day or so, and then it was feeling pretty solid, so then I took the welder and I just tacked it in place. It's pretty strong as it is already, so I just did tack welds all the way along, and I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. For this hole over here, I've cut out some sheet metal already and welded that in same way. So I'll cut out a bit more sheet metal and then weld that in, and we should be good to go.